Hey, ladies and gentlemen. I am back at y'all with another video on my certification journey. I think, yeah, the last time I was here, what was September, where I was talking about, my GDAT certification experience and all that stuff, and I'm back at you again. I am pretty much fresh out of the exam. I just took it earlier today, and I just finished the GCFA, the Certified Forensic Analyst, and I've made it a habit of saying that this by far is the hardest cert that I've taken, and I'm saying it again. This is the hardest certification that I've taken. First of all, um, as you see, there's a little bit of a gap. Like I decided to take a little break, man, just to get my wits behind me, and just gather my thoughts and get back in the frame of mind of getting back in the zone to take another GX certification. So that's why the long gap was there. But I'm an incident responder at my current position, so this actual certification lines up very nicely with what I do on a day to day and goes in very detail. It's like, again, SANS certification information is like a water hose of information. So this was nothing different, but it just was right up my alley. So a lot of things I had experience with already, but just went more in depth with it with this certification. So again, this certification is for incident responders, people who work in SOCs, SOC analysts, things like that. I would not recommend this cert for someone who is brand new to cybersecurity. This is going to be a bit overwhelming and a bit challenging for someone who is brand new to cyber. So have a few years of experience under your belt. I mean, if you really want to just go nose deep and go right in for it, go right ahead. But I'm just saying I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, it was an excellent wealth of information. Covered things like the intrusion, the incident response lifecycle, MITRE attack, things like that, along with the different artifacts that are needed to look for things like persistence, program or malware execution on the network, and different registry hives, and things to like gather certain artifacts, event log analysis, like what to look for, building timelines, NTFS, which on its own was like the biggest obstacle for me. So but ultimately it went over all of those things. You can look at the syllabus in detail to talk about what it went over in detail, what it goes over. But generally, I'm telling you, this cert right here is awesome. I loved it. I loved it. I love the labs, the way they set up the labs, that mimics actual intrusion, and how, and like having access to the different artifacts and things like that, and using the tools to actually analyze those different things, like creating super timelines and things like that, is awesome, man. It's like nothing, like it's unprecedented. Like I always use that word when it comes to SANS certifications. I haven't seen anything like it. There's no other certs that come close to it. That's why, even though I still think it's overpriced, SANS certs, I will always recommend them over any other cert, because no other cert comes close to how they deliver it, and the learning opportunity that comes with taking the actual certifications. um how was the exam? The exam is how let's see, it's 82 questions. 7 of them are practical, like VM questions where you actually have to do hands-on to keyboard things, and the rest are multiple choice. Again, it's weird, and I think it's mainly because I have experience with incident response, years of experience with it. So when I took the actual practice exams, I got a 67 the first practice exam, redid it, got a 81, and as you can see, I passed with a 79 here. But the crazy thing is, with the practice exams I had, I finished with like 2 minutes left to spare, right? But then when I took the actual exam, I had like 30 minutes, and I was very scared because I was like, "Yo, is this is this right? Like, what's going on? Like, why do I have 30 minutes left?" But anyway, the point that I'm making is, I think that my experience kind of helped me with this, but definitely I think, again, time management is key, right? I think that's one of the biggest things you always have to be aware of: time management, time management, time management, time management. Do not build your index with the expectation to look up every answer, because if you do, you are going to run out of time, especially when it comes to the VM questions. You want to have at least 30 to 40 minutes. I remember when I took one of my practice exams, I almost didn't finish the exam because I spent too much time on the question and answer, looking up questions. Also make use of the ability to skip questions. Like if you're see yourself spending more than 2 minutes looking up answers, just skip it and come back to it later, because the VM questions at the end, like I said, that's one thing that I don't like that SANS does, is they make you wait until the end to look at the VM questions. So if you spend too much time on the multiple choice questions, then you're not going to have enough time for the VM questions, right? So that's what I made sure I did, and I think that's what actually helped me this time around when it came to making sure that I had enough time for the VM questions, because as soon like I made a mental timer to myself. Like if I spend more than 1.5, 2 minutes on a question, I automatically skipped it. So I didn't even use all 15, because I think you get the ability to skip 15 questions. I think I only skipped like 8 or 9, right? But those 8 or 9 definitely helped me, because I think I would have spent way more time looking up those answers than just skipping them at the time. So I thought that was a good decision, and I'm going to use that in the future. So I would definitely recommend that if you spend more than 1 minute, 2 minutes on questions, just skip it. What else? Another thing that helped me: don't only rely on SANS material, even though the majority of the questions come from there. But I would advise not only that you Google some and get some cheat sheets just from Google, but create your own. I created like 2 or 3 documents that I feel I used more than my actual index, right? Like there was a document I created for different commands, different helpful commands, and flags or switches for different tools, right? That were useful when I was using them, and especially when I got to the VMs, and because they'll give you those screenshots of different tool outputs and be like, hey, what is this telling you or whatever, right? And then when you look at that and compare it to and when I compared it to that document that I created, sometimes it would take 30 seconds for me to devise the answer, and that was definitely helpful. Also, creating mind maps. I don't have an example of my mind map, but like mind maps, like what tools do certain things. Because the majority of book 3 was all about like volatility plugins, like memory forensics or whatever. So volatility plugins, there are a group of them that are associated with performing certain tasks. Like if you're looking for rootkits, there are certain plugins that you use. If you're looking to identify malicious processes, there are certain plugins that you use. Or if you're looking for network artifacts or network connections, there are certain plugins that you use, right? So you create a mind map that groups those together so that you can keep like a mental, like a visual representation of what tools are associated with finding what type of traffic. And that was super helpful and useful to me to be able to just look at that and be like, oh, okay, they're talking about PS list. That means list out processes or identifying malicious processes, right? So because a lot of things you might know, but you want to get confirmation, and that quick pivot to the mind map for that specific thing definitely helps. So mind maps, creating your own cheat sheets, creating your own documents that kind of help you out outside of the index, because again, the index is just a quick pivot to the book, right? But the end game is to not go to the book that often at all. And those cheat sheets stop me from going to the book a lot of the times. I'm telling you. And sometimes in my index too, I have 3 columns. I have one for the actual term, the acronym, the page number, the book and the page number, and I also have one for notable like text or whatever, where I just like write like a few blurbs of things that is notable to know, so that potentially I can look at that and it'll stop me from going to the book. So ultimately, having an index that takes you to the book is fine, but the ultimate goal is to create artifacts or documents that let you not go to the book at all. And that helped me tremendously. And I think that's why I think all these things in combination that I'm telling you is what gave me enough time at the end of the exam, that questioning myself, because each exam I find new things to do that makes my exam experience more efficient and better. And I got a 79. I could have did better. You know what I'm saying? But like I always say in all the other ones, I don't care what grade I get as long as I get the cert. And that's exactly what I did. But ultimately, this is a great exam. I love the class. I love the training. Definitely, definitely going to recommend it to all my friends, all my IR buddies and stuff like that. But if you're thinking about getting it, go ahead and get it. Those are the tips that I would give outside of the normal tips that I give about going through the course and creating the index. Create the index, take the practice exam, revise the index, take the practice exam again, and then revise the index again, and then take the exam. But there's not really much that I can say outside of that, but that this is a phenomenal course, and I hope this helps. Feel free to drop comments, likes, subscribe to my channel. The next cert that I'm going to get is the GCTI, which is the Threat Intelligence Certification. I'm going to take a little while off, but you should see a video for that soon enough. And just comment if you have any questions or anything like that. Thanks for your time. Talk to you guys later.